We love a good comeback story. An underdog turning the tide in a battle that seemed hopeless. But what if the greatest victories aren't won with might or military strategy? What if they're won by a different kind of power altogether? We're going to look at one of the most famous battles in history, but maybe not in the way you've heard it before. For 40 days, the army of Israel was paralyzed by fear. Twice a day, a 9-foot 9-inch Philistine giant named Goliath would come out and taunt them, daring anyone to fight him. King Saul and his entire army were terrified. The Philistines had been a thorn in Israel's side for a long time, but this was a whole new level of intimidation. Then, a young shepherd boy named David, sent by his father to bring food to his brothers, shows up on the battlefield. He hears Goliath's blasphemous threats against God and his people, and while everyone else is cowering, David asks, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" David's response got him an audience with the king. Saul looks at him and says, "You can't go fight this Philistine. You're just a youth, and he's been a warrior since he was young." But David's confidence wasn't in himself. He tells Saul, "Your servant has been tending his father's sheep. Whenever a lion or a bear came, I went after it, struck it down, and rescued the lamb." But he quickly gives credit where it's due. "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." David saw his past experiences, even the mundane job of shepherding, as God's training ground. God was preparing him for this very moment. Saul, on the other hand, relied on conventional wisdom and tools. He offers David his own armor, but it's too big and unfamiliar. David takes it off, choosing instead what he knows: his staff, 5 smooth stones, and a sling. He wasn't unarmed. The sling was an effective and common weapon in the ancient world. But his ultimate trust was in God, the only true source of victory. As David approaches the giant, Goliath is insulted. He curses David by his gods. But David's reply echoes with a faith that shakes the very foundation of the conflict. He says, "You come against me with a sword, spear, and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of armies, the God of the ranks of Israel. You have defied him." This is the key. The key concept for us today is that we can trust God to be sovereign over all our battles. David makes it clear this isn't about him. This is for God's glory. He declares that he will defeat Goliath so that all the world will know that Israel has a God, and this whole assembly will know that it is not by sword or by spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's. Then David runs toward the fight. With a single stone from his sling, he strikes the giant on the forehead, and Goliath falls. David defeated the Philistine with a sling and a stone, without even a sword in his hand. This story is so much more than an underdog victory. It's a powerful picture of a deeper spiritual truth. God often demonstrates his power through what the world sees as weakness. A shepherd boy defeats a giant, and this points us to the ultimate hero. David was an unlikely champion who saved the Israelites, but his future descendant Jesus did even better. He saved the whole world. Jesus is our true and better champion. He defeated our greatest enemies, sin and death, not with armor and weapons, but through the cross, which looked like the ultimate weakness to the world. David stood in the gap for Israel, but Jesus stood in the gap for all humanity, defeating sin to bring us to God. Because of his victory, we can face the giants in our own lives with confidence. So what does this mean for us? First, our head. We need to have a biblical worldview. Jesus told us to expect trouble in this world. So when challenges come, we shouldn't be caught off guard. How can you better prepare for life's challenges, knowing they are a part of a follower's journey? Second, our heart. Fear is a natural emotion. It paralyzed the Israelite army. But God constantly tells us, do not be afraid. When we fix our eyes on Jesus, our ultimate victor, we can face our fears with confidence. How does this story encourage you to face your own fears? Finally, our hands. David's victory was the signal for the Israelite army to pursue the enemy. Jesus has already won the decisive victory over sin and death on the cross. Our job now is to join his mission, taking the good news of his victory to the nations. This week, take a moment to reflect on God's faithfulness in your past. How has he prepared you for what you're facing right now? Remember that the battle belongs to the Lord, and in Jesus, the victory is already won.